I have wanted to heal without medicine since I was 12-year-old.
What did she change that triggered the change so fast?
It's exactly what you said. It's just diet changes.
How can somebody be their own doctor?
5 steps that are associated with a 10-year longer lifespan.
Sugar, oil, and salt. Because these are three ingredients nobody can avoid.
90-95% of the time, the food we eat is actually in our hands.
Somebody living a student life, do you have some tips?
Soya beans.
What's your take on fasting?
I think the biggest benefit of fasting is a reset.
Logical reason behind meditation.
The goal of meditation is to reach that state of mind.
Do you have any other book recommendations?
It's called Becoming Vegan.
My name is Mohit. I represent Medical Centric, and today we are with Dr. Eswar. Doctor, thank you for joining today. I've been watching a lot of your Instagram reels, and I'm very excited to dive into everything you have to share with us. Tell us a little bit about you, please.
Thank you for having me, Mohit. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a yoga and naturopathy doctor. I specialize in what I like to call healing with food. I help people prevent and reverse lifestyle diseases through nutrition. I've been doing this for about 13 years now. We have a clinic where we help people reverse diseases and an online platform called nutritionscience.in where you can learn how to cook healthy, how to eat healthy at home. And we also have a social enterprise called Sampurna Ahara where we empower you to enjoy healthy but tasty versions of all the sweets and snacks you love.
Let's go back to, you being a young individual. I mean, not that you're old, but when you were in early 20s or as a student, were you always into healing? Did you always wanted to be a doctor?
I have wanted to heal without medicine since I was 12-year-old, Mohit. I had this dream as a child and I pursued it since then. I was lucky that my parents supported that dream and helped me take every step towards it. I realized that the best way that I can, get started as a child is look at your family. And I saw my grandmother suffering from diabetes, my grandfather from hypertension. And we had a long list of diseases just in my nearby, close family members. I just wanted to help them get it all better. Then the turning point came when my mother was diagnosed with sinusitis, migraine. It was so bad. Sinusitis was so bad, she was unable to sleep in a lying down position. The migraine would shut her in a room for days at a time. We also had DUB, which is dysfunctional uterine bleeding, where the bleeding had left her so weak she was not able to get up from the chair on her own comfortably. Despite every kind of medication and therapy, she was not getting better until she made a switch to a healthy lifestyle. When that happened, within 7 days, sinusitis gone, no more migraines, the bleeding stopped, and she had more energy than the rest of the family put together. That's when I realized yoga and naturopathy, a healthy lifestyle, is my calling, and I want to dedicate my life to it.
That's fascinating. What did she change that triggered the change so fast? Because we all know if you eat better, you're into yoga, you work out, all those things help. But this idea that within 7 days there was a drastic difference, do you remember those changes? What exactly was it?
It's exactly what you said. It's just yoga and diet changes. We all think that it will help, but we all underestimate how much it will help. It's a very, very powerful thing. When you help your body with the right diet, with the right exercise, with the right environment, the body heals itself. People don't give it as much credit as it deserves.
In your practice, there's absolutely no prescription. It's all lifestyle changes, which could be diet and yoga or, other lifestyle changes.
That's right. Lifestyle changes are my prescription.
What's your take on prescription drugs, though? I understand what you're doing, and that's absolutely brilliant. But like I said, what's your take on prescription drugs then?
Drugs are life-saving. There are billions of people today who are alive and healthy because of drugs. Until we fix the root cause of the problem, drugs are only a band-aid therapy. They help you to get from today to tomorrow. But when you fix the root cause, that can actually help you live healthier. It can help you live longer. To quote an analogy, it's like you get out of the bedroom every morning and you bang your foot on the coffee table. It hurts a bit, you say, ow, and then you move on with your life. But imagine you bang your foot on the same coffee table, same corner every day for 10 years. No
Right.
matter how many medications you eat, it's going to hurt. It's going to get red hot, swollen. You can put bandages on it, you can take painkillers, you can apply ointments. But as long as you keep banging your foot, it's going to keep hurting. The solution: move the coffee table 2 inches, problem solved. You fix the root cause, the need for the medication goes away. Do the medications help? Yes, they help. Does fixing the root cause help? Yes, it helps. But people don't, like we discussed before, the system, I think, is not yet designed in such a way that when you go to a doctor for the first time and you're diagnosed, let's say, with a high blood sugar, with diabetes, there is no universal program that exists that a doctor says, okay, you have diabetes, let's get you started on our diabetes program. The doctor says, eat a healthier diet, don't eat so much junk food, eat less fried food, cook at home, don't eat out, try some exercise. Why don't you go to a gym? Meet me again in a month, let's see if it's reduced. But instead, if there is a better system there which the doctor and patient can follow, that can give much better results.
I think this is a known fact, right? Like this idea that medicine is like a band-aid. It temporarily relieves the pain, which is very important in some cases. But there must be scientists or researchers working on prescription drugs that actually fix the root cause. Or is that not possible?
No, because so look at it this way, okay? If you are eating an unhealthy meal and then taking a drug to fix it, and then eating another unhealthy meal and then taking a drug to fix it, and you keep repeating this through your life, what is the point?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I want to tell you a story, and I should have sent you this before we actually got on the interview here. Do you know about this YouTube channel called Gooby and Dooby?
Not aware.
Okay, I'm going to send you a link later today. This is an MIT neurosurgeon who was practicing and prescribing surgeries to every one of their patient, all of that. And I'm probably going to butcher the stories, but let me still tell you because it's fascinating and it is in line with what we're talking about. So while prescribing surgeries, the doctor realized there was a lot of wait time. So sometime he had to tell their patient, well, I got you in, but it's a month from now. But in the meantime, I would like you to make these lifestyle changes. For example, you cannot smoke until your surgery, and I want you to eat this and not eat that, all of that. And then when the time comes for a surgery, he realized they don't need it just within a month, right? And that's like a light bulb moment for the doctor because he's like, what am I doing, right? Why am I prescribing these surgeries when I can just fix most of my patients with lifestyle change? He tried to make the change, and I don't want to take a lot of time. And eventually what happened was he had to quit, where if he doesn't prescribe surgeries, the hospital doesn't want him. And then he made a YouTube video explaining everything. I saw this video like a day or two after it was posted. It's got 17 million views of him just telling his story. I'll send you that, and I think you'll find it very interesting. You have this philosophy of be your own doctor. And I understand what you mean. Like you have all the tools, just eat healthy, don't do drugs, don't be stupid, don't smoke cigarettes all day. And, your body is going to be fine. But the idea of a doctor versus a patient is doctor just knows a lot more. Like you've been to medical school, not me, right? How can somebody be their own doctor? I guess that's the question.
I think it has to do with preventive health and lifestyle diseases. Lifestyle diseases are the top killers today, globally and in India. You have heart disease, which is the number one cause of death. Cardiovascular diseases are leading globally, and 1 in 3 deaths are because of cardiovascular disease. How much can a doctor really do? Right. How many patients can you see? How many people can you say, eat this, don't eat this on a daily basis? It's impossible. If you're going to depend on doctors to fix the cardiovascular disease epidemic without people taking charge of their diet and lifestyle, it's not going to happen. The only way we can almost prevent nearly one third of deaths in the world today is if people, individuals like you and me, we take charge of our diet, we take charge of our health and make those optimal nutrition changes.
How does one even begin? Like, okay, I'm listening to you and I wanna fix it. What is like, without reading bunch of books and signing up for subscription, what can I do? What are the few things that are like immediately going to show you the impacts?
Absolutely. So the Adventist 2 study is a great example of this. One of the findings, and I think they followed like 75,000 plus people over multiple decades to find out why some people live longer and healthier and why others don't.
Right.
One of the things that they found was there are 5 things that you can do every day to increase your potential lifespan by 10 years. Okay, 5 steps that are associated with a 10-year longer lifespan. What are those 5 steps? The first one is never smoke. And if you do smoke, the best thing you can do for your health is quit. Like within 15 years of quitting smoking, your risk of lung cancer drops by a whopping 30%. That's how much the body can heal itself. That's number one. Number two is normal weight. If you're overweight, then that excess fat is cutting short your life. It's not a good idea. We need to get rid of it and come back to normal weight. Number three is exercise regularly. Like it doesn't matter what exercise you do, as long as you are moving every day, moving regularly and practicing that physical activity. So pick up something you enjoy, make sure you stick to it. And I think the other secret here is do not wait for motivation. If you wait until you feel like doing it, chances are it's never going to happen. Action trumps motivation every single time. Don't wait until you feel like it. Just do it now. Do it today. Okay. Number 4 is eat more plant-based. The more wholesome plant foods you eat, the lower your risk of disease and the longer your potential health span and lifespan. This has been proven time and again across multiple large clinical epidemiological studies. And we know this for a fact that if you eat more fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains, more legumes, more nuts and seeds, you get healthier. So the more plant-based you eat, the healthier you can get. And number 5, finally, is eat more nuts. Nuts specifically have been associated with better brain health and longevity. So eating more nuts and seeds every day, up to a quarter cup a day, can give you those benefits. So those are like 5 things in a nutshell. If you ask what are the basics to cover, those
Right.
are the 5. Never smoke, exercise regularly, normal weight, eat more plants, eat more nuts.
Do you consider walking to be part of that? Like if somebody just walks, do you consider that to be one of the steps that substitute for exercising?
Sure. So there are 2 aspects to physical activity. One is actual exercising. The other one is staying active every day. Okay. So if you are, say, working out for an hour in the morning and then sitting at a desk, not getting up for 10 hours straight, that means you have done exercise, but you still have a sedentary lifestyle. Throughout the day, you're still sitting in one place. If you don't exercise, but then you're walking around all day, then you are doing some physical activity, but exercise is not there. Both of these are important. We need to have that walking every day. At the same time, we also need to exercise every day for optimal results. Okay. If the only exercise you can do is walking for any reason, then brisk walking uphill for 90 minutes a day still counts as exercise. But
Right.
if you're walking at anything less than a brisk pace, and if it's not an uphill climb, if it's just normal regular ground, then unfortunately that does not count as an exercise. It's just part of being physically active.
Right. I see that. Are you a vegetarian?
Yeah, so I was a vegetarian for most of my life until I realized that being vegetarian only tells me which foods to avoid eating. It doesn't tell me which foods to eat. Like I can be on a completely unhealthy vegetarian diet, eating fried
Right.
food, eating sugar every day, and still be a vegetarian, right? When I discovered what are the foods that actually give you health, I switched to a whole food, plant-based diet, which means I eat food that comes from plants, which is wholesome and unprocessed. So that gives me optimal health.
That's fascinating. I I recently read a book about humanity and how humans have lived most of their life eating meat. It's only recent that few hundred years ago we got into agriculture and started eating vegetarian, but that could be a whole different conversation. What's the difference, according to you, between eating healthy and eating to heal? So one could be eating healthy, but is that healing their body? Like, just help us a little bit on that.
See, eating healthy and eating to heal are practically the same. I don't see a difference between them. Maybe the difference would be in how people perceive it. Eating healthy could mean I'm eating, say, a hamburger or a plate of fried food, and I have a salad on the side. That means I'm eating healthy because I've added the salad. It's good.
Right.
Better to eat the junk with the salad than without.
Yeah, that's fair.
But eating to heal means you set an intention. You have a purpose. You're heading
Right.
somewhere with this. It's not just about saying, okay, I'm doing this one small thing, but about I have somewhere to reach. I have a destination in mind. I want to get to that state of health. So you're much more intentional and you're open to making much bigger changes. Now, making small changes is great. It's a good starting point. It gives you
Right.
small results, but big changes give you big results.
I don't know if you watch a lot of short form content. I'm guilty of spending a lot of time just doom scrolling nonsense on Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. But I want to say about a year ago there was this trend where individuals would just get like French fries from like a really bad, like let's say McDonald's, and wrap it with lettuce, and they pretend like I'm eating healthy. I thought that was really funny.
In fact, it's so interesting that there was actual studies conducted on this, okay, where people were given unhealthy options with a healthy salad option added to it or without the healthy salad option added to the menu. What the research found was when people are given only unhealthy options, they eat a certain amount. But when the healthy option is added, they eat more unhealthy food. This is crazy. You would think it's the opposite. When there's a healthy option, you eat something healthy and you eat something unhealthy at the very least. But it turned out to be the complete other way around. People ate much more unhealthy food when there's a salad in front of them. And it turns out the brain has a bias that if you see that there is something healthy potentially you could do, you give yourself the permission to enjoy the unhealthy food more. Okay, let's say, oh,
Yeah.
there's a salad. Okay, yeah, I can always eat the salad. Because I'm going to eat the salad tomorrow, let me eat extra French fries. Because that lettuce is there, I'm going to eat more French fries than I normally would. Crazy, right?
That is, brain's a funny thing, right? I want to talk about sugar, oil, and salt because these are three ingredients nobody can avoid. Well, at least I can't, right? This is part of our meal, especially in the Indian palate. Even though I'm in Canada and, I consider myself to be like very diverse eater. Like I love sushi, right? I'd go sometime a week without an Indian meal. But generally speaking, it's very hard to avoid sugar, salt, and oil. Is that okay? Are we stressing too much about it? Because one thing I've noticed is everybody is about how bad sugar is, which we all know it is. But where is that line? Just tell us a bit more about that.
Sugar and oil, we think are empty calories and we can eat a little bit and get away with it. Unfortunately, even a little intake of sugar and oil is damaging to your long-term health. The question really is not how much can we eat. The question is how healthy do you want to be? If you're okay with a mild disease, borderline diagnosis, little diabetes instead of a full-blown disease, then yeah, a little bit of sugar and oil probably, end up taking you in that direction at some point. But if you don't want it at all, if you want to stay as healthy as possible, then it really makes sense to eat a diet that is as healthy as possible. There are always going to be unavoidable situations where you need to end up, eating something unhealthy. Keeping those aside, most of the time, 95% of the time, the food we eat is actually in our hands. It's in our control. If someone says, I can't avoid using oil to cook for myself in the kitchen, I don't know how to believe that because you're the one putting the oil in the pan.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of
not do it. And I think at the end of the day, it's about the skill of cooking. If you learn how you can cook delicious food without using oil, without using sugar, and without using much salt, then you can really enjoy eating your food every day and still stay healthy at the same time. You don't have to choose. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You don't have to choose between health and taste. Like, I'm a foodie. I'm the biggest foodie I know. In back in college, 5 years of medical college, I have gone and eaten out almost every single day, even though I
Right.
could have cooked at home. I've come back home in the evening and eaten a cup of yogurt with 6 spoons of sugar in it because that's how much I needed for it to be good tasting. From there, if I can shift to whole food plant based and still enjoy delicious food every day, anyone can do it.
I think with the oil, I have two things. Well, I think air fryer is a game changer, which is a very, I don't know what your take on that is. I've seen in our house, some of the best food cooked is what we would do. Like, I'll give you an example, like vada pav. 5 years ago, we would cook it like a regular deep fried vada pav. But we have switched to 100% air fryer, and it tastes 99% the same. And there's zero oil in it. But keeping that aside, well, I guess, everybody listening, buy an air fryer if you can afford to. When we're trying to avoid, is there any type of oil that you give a pass on? For example, canola oil is a worst of the worst, right? Like, a lot of people don't know that canola oil it was created to be used as a motor oil for vehicles. And it's literally used in cooking now all over the world, which is like mind boggling. In my brain, the way I think is canola oil is worse than, let's say, avocado oil or olive oil. Or do you think, yeah, it's better, but then it's not that much better, just avoid it altogether? Like, that's kind of, I guess, my question.
Yeah, I think the last part of what you said, Mohit, I think the perspective we need to have on this is not better, but it's less bad, less worse. And when we're able to look at it that way, we really understand. Because
Yeah.
when you say something is good, better, or best, it means
Right.
that it's improving your health. Okay, when you say something is bad or less worse, it means it's
I
still
see.
damaging your health, but it's damaging it a little less. Okay. And think that's very important for us to use those words, because then we really understand what is going to happen to me when I eat that oil for the next few years. Because at the end of the day, that's what counts. It's not about numbers in a research
Yeah.
study. It's about what's going to happen to me. That's the most important thing. And when we eat, say, even olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, you eat something with it, within about 30 minutes, the arteries in your body start becoming stiffer. Okay. And there are studies which have actually documented this and found how it happens. Out of all the oils, olive oil seems to be the better one that everyone
Yeah,
talks about.
it's like the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry, right?
Exactly. But even olive oil, when you compare it to nuts and seeds, the spark of olive oil fizzles out. Walnuts, flax seeds, almonds, they have so much of health benefit over and above any kind of oil you can get, because although they contain like 30 to 50% fat in them, that's the oil which we extract from them. Without extracting it, when we use it in the whole form, apart from the fat, you're getting all of the other nutrition as well. And that nutrition protects your body from any harmful effect that the fat could have. That's what makes nuts and seeds so healthy and great sources of healthy fat.
What about like really organic? Like, India is big on ghee, right? If I own my own cow, and I have my own organic milk, and I make butter, and then I use that butter to make my own ghee. Is it still like, okay, it's less bad than, let's say, olive oil, but you're still like, it's still sort of oil, right? Or do you think there's any type of that's doesn't have like the negative impact on the body?
See, it really depends on the composition of the fat. Okay, so for example, when you look at ghee, there's a lot of saturated fat, and a lot of the cholesterol has become oxidized when butter is cooked down to make ghee. That's how you make ghee, right? You take
Right.
butter and then boil it down. When that happens, a lot of the cholesterol gets oxidized. The problem with oxidized cholesterol is it damages your arteries much more than regular cholesterol does. It can even cross the blood-brain barrier and get into your brain and start causing damage there, increasing your stroke risk. Consuming that much of oxidized cholesterol is not a good idea compared to eating nuts and seeds. At the end of the day, it's about what you're comparing it to. Like, there is no food that you can say is healthy or unhealthy on its
Right.
own very easily. Okay? It's all about what are you replacing it with. Let's say if you are replacing your olive oil with ghee, that's going to give you an increased health risk. But if you're replacing your olive oil with walnuts or even olives, that's going to lower your disease risk
Of
and give
course.
you better health.
Absolutely. It's just this idea that you can live your life without any sort of oil just seems very foreign. And I know it's not just me. I know that's how the world lives right now.
Yeah.
And what you're trying to do is obviously change that, and which is amazing. But
Fortunately, we've come such a long way. Like, when you look at traditional Indian cultures, Mohit, if you look at coastal areas where coconuts, peanuts were abundant, a lot of the dishes do not use oil traditionally. Okay, even cultures that we now associate with a lot of deep fried food, like Bengali culture. Okay,
right.
Bengali culture is white rice, milk, sugar, and deep fried food. That's it. These are the four things that comes to mind when you think of Bengali food. These are the popular dishes.
Right.
And interestingly, you go back like 70, 80 years, a little before independence, most people did not use oil in their cooking, not even mustard oil. In fact, most of the food was steamed. Like, there would be vegetables wrapped in banana leaves with a mustard paste inside. This was the staple form of cooking. So you get the fat from the mustard, but you also get the nutrients from the mustard.
Right.
This was so surprising when I found out, because I thought, okay, this has to be like anti tradition. This has to be anti everything that we know growing up. But then our knowledge is just limited to what we know growing up in our lifetime. You just go back like 2, 3 generations back, it was very, very different.
For individuals that cannot afford, well, nuts are expensive. Like most nuts are, unless we're talking peanuts, right? Cashew is expensive, so is almond. So somebody on a low budget, somebody living a student life that can barely afford to eat a meal, do you have some tips?
2 things, Mohit. One is poverty is a huge issue today. Poverty can restrict your access not only to healthy food, but healthy anything at all. Just the amount of time that you have available, resources, access, opportunities, everything is restricted. Poverty is a big issue. For those who are not suffering from poverty, we should not be using that as an excuse to eat unhealthy food. That is on one side.
True.
Okay. On the other side, if you are facing poverty, you are not able to access healthy food, then there are only a few limited options available. You look at those options and choose the best available out of those. You can't afford walnuts or almonds or cashews, for example. Peanuts are still there. Peanuts are
Right.
much cheaper than any of these. They're much more affordable, and you can use those. Soya beans, although they're not nuts, they are
Right.
legumes, but they still contain a lot of fat in them. Soya beans are even cheaper than peanuts. So including either of these in your diet can actually give you those healthy fats without the disease risk of using processed fat. The other thing I was saying is animal foods and processed foods are expensive. Not
Right.
all of them are cheap. Sugar is cheap. White rice is cheap. Refined flour is cheap. Meat is not. Eggs are not. Dairy, although it is highly subsidized, like pretty much everywhere in the world, it's still not cheap.
Yes.
On the other hand, eating whole wheat is cheap. Eating legumes are cheap. You need to get the ingredients and cook it at home. That's the best way to lower your food cost.
Yeah, lentils, legumes, like you said, is one thing that always come to mind. Which I wouldn't necessarily say it's super cheap, but definitely affordable for the masses, right? And it has a very long shelf life. You can store them. Yeah, sugar is cheap. You know what's funny? Every time I go eat out, they always tell you, especially in the North American culture, oh, you have a free drink. And my response is always, okay, I'll just take a water bottle, right? And no, that's not free. So you can have all the drinks, and there's usually 10 of them. They're all free, but the water is $2, which is hilarious, because when you're giving me like a big, can of Fanta, it's literally water and sugar. Why is water not free? That always
It's
gets me.
crazy.
That's a lot of information on the food part, and I see, if you look at it, it's pretty straightforward, right? Just eat healthy, don't do stupid stuff, and you'll live a good life. Like you said, don't smoke. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out, right? But moving on from food, actually, before we move on, I want to talk about fasting, because fasting is, you're basically not eating at all now. What's your take on fasting? What kind of fasting? What should an average person know about fasting?
So let's talk about two things here, okay? One is your intermittent fasting, which you do every day, restricting the hours that you eat food in. The other one is longer fasting, which could be a fruit fast, it could be a juice fast, a smoothie fast, a soup fast, a water fast, a dry fast, a religious fast, or whatever. So many different types.
Right.
So the intermittent fasting is something that we can all do. The most important aspect of intermittent fasting is eating an early dinner. If you do intermittent fasting but you follow a late fasting window, if you start eating in the afternoon and eat until night, you don't get as much benefit as starting morning, afternoon, and finishing your dinner early. So that, it seems to be the most crucial aspect, eating an early dinner. How early does it need to be? Ideally before sunset. If
Okay.
you're, for example, here in India, sunset is around 6:37. So
Right.
finish your dinner before 7. I eat my dinner around 5:36 every day. Okay, that's the most crucial aspect. Now, about longer fasts, ideally it should be medically supervised, especially if you have a health issue, or if it's the first time you're doing it, or if elders or children, or pregnant mothers, lactating mothers, athletes, if
Right.
you're in any of these categories, then it definitely needs to be supervised if at all there is a need to do it. And there are so many types, and they give such fantastic benefits. I think the biggest benefit of fasting is a reset. It resets your taste buds, it resets your cravings, it resets the way you look at food, it resets your hunger, your appetite, it resets your health. It gives you a chance to start eating healthy on a fresh new note. I think that's the biggest benefit, because then it becomes much easier for you to start eating healthy and just continue that new healthy diet and lifestyle that you formed.
I've seen people doing 20-day water fast. Just some crazy stuff. And I feel like if I do that, I'm gonna die. Is it really just a mental barrier?
Yeah,
Or
that
is
is a
it
mental barrier.
everybody's? So you think
Yeah,
everybody's body is capable of doing that?
not everybody. So if you are starving, if you're malnourished, if you have you're undernourished, if you have a nutritional deficiency, it's not probably a good idea for you to do any kind of fast. You need to build up your body's reserves. You need to have enough muscle mass. You need to have enough fat stored that can fuel your body during that fast. Okay, but if you are within your
Well,
normal BMI,
I was gonna say an average person
yeah.
sitting on YouTube probably is fat. Like, I agree with you about, there are a lot of individuals who are dealing with poverty and they don't get their meal. But I feel like this modern tech world, everybody is just really very heavy on, like, it's hard to avoid food, right? Like, food has become such a important cultural part of our society that you cannot go out and meet people if you don't want to eat. It's just you become the awkward person.
A hack for that recently that, sorry, I'm interrupting, but I think this is exciting for me. I want to share it. I have stopped meeting people for food. I call them out to go and play something. Play a game of pickleball. Let's go on a walk. Let's go on a hike. Let's go visit this new place, this a museum, a park. I find that so much better, because there are so many better memories. Just the rush of good feeling hormones that you get when you're out and about doing things is so much more than when you're sitting out for a
Oh
meal.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so wonderful memories.
I think if you can do it right, but when it comes to, like, imagine a typical couple. They're like, oh, we should meet another couple, and they just go out. The first idea is let's meet for dinner. And the default needs to change. And I recently watched. Do you remember that movie Joker, the
Yeah,
Hollywood movie? Right? Was it Joaquin Phoenix? Who's that?
yeah,
The
Joaquin
lead
Phoenix.
character? Yeah. So he lost a lot of weight for that role. If you remember that movie, he was really really skinny, right? In one of the interviews, he said he just had to basically stop meeting people. That was the only way, because if you want to meet people, you kind of have to eat. And I listened to you loud and clear. You could go meet for a game of badminton or just go for a hike, right? That's beautiful. But the society in general, when we meet each other, the first idea is, well, where are we meeting? And those places are usually restaurants, coffee shops, right? Like even if you go to a movie theater, it's just, well, we don't have popcorn. What do you mean? We're gonna watch a movie without? It's weird, yeah. It's normalizing the bad behavior, and I think it's all by the biggest marketing companies in the world because they profit off of it. It's like, look at alcohol. It has become so normalized in our society that a father drinking at his kid's birthday party is considered normal. It's like, this guy is having a beer. Let him enjoy a beer, right? He's not hurting anyone. But at the end of the day, it's a mind altering drug, right? Like you're drinking
And
alcohol.
at the end of the day, he is hurting himself at the very
Well,
least.
sure, you're hurting your own body, but the idea here is there's nothing wrong he's doing socially. But I think even though you're not doing anything wrong, you are normalizing this evil thing where the kids around you are watching, and when they turn 18, they're gonna be like, well, dad used to drink every night. What's wrong with the beer? He never hit us. He was a good man, right? So, and the same for food. Like the idea that when you buy a popcorn for a movie, you have to have cold drink with it is so normalized that it feels awkward to a lot of individuals to not order it and get into the peer pressure, and it's just sad, but
True.
that's the world we live in. If food is really the key, which I think is what you're saying, like fix your food and you fix a lot of problem, what does yoga bring to the table? Like, tell us more about that.
Yoga is such a vast field, so many things you can talk about, but let's just talk about the physical, the breathing, the meditation aspects of it, okay, for health purposes. Um, Following a healthy lifestyle involves three things: healthy food, physical activity, and less stress. Okay. And I think yoga can help in all of these three aspects, definitely in the physical activity and the less stress portions. And it can help you follow a healthy diet so much better because your cravings have reduced by that much. And research has shown that when you eat a healthy diet, you get healthier. When you exercise, also you get healthier. But when you do both together, you get the healthiest possible out of these three options. So I think it's the combination of these that gives you optimal health and optimal lifespan.
Saying you should try to avoid stress. To me, it sounds
Not
like
avoid stress. See, there are
Mhm.
stressful situations that you just
Exactly.
can't avoid, right?
That's where I was
Yeah,
going. Like,
yeah.
nobody
But
wants to be stressed, right? Like, you don't wake up and be like, I'm going to be stressed today. But you have a situation where you're extremely stressed. And I don't think you can control that. It's like, you have leg pain and somebody's saying, well, it's just in your leg. Don't worry about it, right? You kind of do worry about it because you can feel the pain.
yeah, there are situations that are beyond your control. But luckily, your response to those situations might be more in your control than you realize. And we need to separate out those two. Okay. You're driving on the road, someone is honking behind you constantly. Okay. That's a stressful situation for most people. How do you
Sure.
respond to that situation? Do you honk back? Do you get angry? Do you get upset? Do you get irritated? Or are you able to ignore it completely, move out of the way, let them pass, and then carry on? What is your response to that situation? And that response does not like it's not something that you control at that instant. That's something that's pre-programmed into your mind. A lot of the things that we do in response to the environment around us, in response to situations that happen in life, are pre-programmed in the mind, and you can load your mind with new programming so it responds to future situations a little better. Less temper, less irritation, less frustration, less jealousy, less greed, less anger. You can program all of these. You can program your mind to respond with calmness, to respond with peace, to respond with kindness, to respond with respect, while still preserving yourself and getting the best of the situation. And something that it's funny, but it happens when you make this change. Even those situations, some of them actually start improving. They start changing for the better, because suddenly people start looking at you differently. Like, hey, why isn't this getting to him?
Right.
Maybe
And this stuff.
that's something I can learn, and
Right.
then things improve.
Yeah. I always say the smallest effort you can change the world. And this is what I mean by that, because if I do something nice, I just I'm on the street, I'm going for a walk, and I just smile at that individual. That individual might just trigger something which can just lead to end up like we all become a better society. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in a fantasy, but I think if we just all practice that, that will definitely make some change around us. So,
Very true.
how
I love
does
the way
how
you
does
said that. I really love the way you said that. You can't change the world, but you can change your world.
Yeah, I mean, it's also maybe a little bit of religion thing, because as a Hindu, I believe a lot in karma, right? If I do the right thing, it's gonna always come back to me in the right way. Like, and I'm not doing it for a selfish reason. I just want to make a world a better place, and part of me think doing the right thing is just always the right thing, right? Like, just like a simple nod. Like, I'm probably one of the most extrovert individuals you're going to meet, and that's I think that's a blessing, because it comes very easy to me, right? Like, if I'm out for a hike, I'm the one saying hello to everyone, which I know it's not easy for everyone, right? People are shy, people are introvert, and all of that. But part of me is also thinking, if I smile and maybe they're stressed, maybe I just make them forget about it for 5 seconds. That's all, right? And if we all do that to each other, it'd be a fascinating world we live in. But
So true.
I wanna go back to, so you said you can reprogram your brain to handle the situations better, and that's true. But how does yoga come in play? Because when I think of yoga, it's in my head. It's, I have a yoga mat. I'm gonna lay down and try to stretch my body. That's the first thought that comes to my mind, and I'm sure there is a lot more to it. So how? What do you mean yoga can help you reduce your stress? I always thought most of yoga was like physical, where stretching and doing a headstand. Or if I go search Google, I just type yoga, I'm gonna see a lot of people in a lot of different asanas, right? And all of that is mostly physical. So tell us a little bit of about what I'm missing here.
Absolutely. Yoga is so much more than asanas, Mohit. Asanas are great. They're a fantastic daily practice. I think because it's a daily practice and it's a physical practice, it's so popular and everyone knows about it. But yoga, by definition, is a way to merge your consciousness with the universal energy, universal consciousness, whatever you'd like to call it. That is the meaning of the word yoga. It means union. Okay, so where is yoga, and where are asanas, right? It seems like it's totally different. What is the link
Right.
even? um, there are so many streams of yoga, so many different types of yoga. There's bhakti yoga, which is yoga through devotion. There's jnana yoga, which is yoga through introspection, intellect, and knowledge. There's karma yoga, which is yoga through action. You do your duty, but you do it in a very detached way, and you don't really expect anything in return. That's karma yoga. And then there is Ashtanga Yoga, Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is probably the most popular one that most people know about, and I think it's the most recent one as well in some ways. And that breaks yoga down into 8 limbs. Okay, the first two are yama and niyama, do's and don'ts, things that we need to do in order to survive as a society and be at peace with our neighbors, with our friends and family. Things like non-violence, speaking the truth, not stealing things, not being possessive, surrendering to the process, things like that. And then you have your asana. That is the third step, okay? And that's what most people focus on. So,
Right.
And the definition of asana is not really do this particular posture or that particular posture. The definition of asana is simply peak physical fitness. That's what asana means. Asana means that whatever you do physically, you should be comfortable doing it. Nothing should be out of your scope. You should not be uncomfortable or in pain, whatever physical posture you are in. That's the definition of of that term asana. Then there is pranayama. Okay, pranayama is where you control your breath, which is the one thing that you can't stop. You can stop all other movements. You can't stop the breath voluntarily for too long. So you control your breath, and then the next step is pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawing the senses from the outside world into your mind, focusing on the mind, on your thoughts, on your breath, on things that are within. Then there is dharana. Dharana is concentration, which is what most people do when we say we meditate. We're actually concentrating. Right. We take one thing and then you focus on it. It could be a chant, it could be a song, it could be something that you're looking at, an object, it could be an idol, it could be a thought, it could be your breath, it could be anything. You focus on one thing. It could be
why. What's the idea? So and I probably already know the answer, but I really want to have the audience listen it from you. If I'm living my life day to day and I want to sit down to meditate, and now I'm focusing on one thing, and the general sense here is, am I trying to just calm my brain down because there's a lot of thoughts all the time? What is the logical reason behind meditation? Why should individuals do it? And obviously, what are the unknown benefits that we don't see it? Because if you meditate for the first time for 20 minutes, you're probably not going to see a lot of benefits, right? But what does it do internally that over time it just, tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So let's go from the top down. Okay, the biggest, or the reason that Patanjali, Sage Patanjali, Maharishi Patanjali, who wrote the Ashtanga Yoga, the Yoga Sutras, he says that you start concentrating up to a point where your mind starts focusing on that thing by itself. Like when you listen to a song one too many times and it gets stuck in your head, that is literally meditation. Your brain has started focusing on that song without any conscious effort. Probably the latest pop song is not a great idea for meditation, but right. You get what I mean, right? So that is dhyana. And that is the object of concentration. You concentrate to reach that point where your mind shuts off everything else and focuses on that one thing. And from there, you go to something called samadhi. Samadhi is where it's not death, but it is a state where you are able to look at anything else in the world, or even the entire universe itself, and say that me, the universe, and the process by which I'm seeing the universe, all of these are essentially the same thing at the end of the day. We all came from the same place. Everything started from the Big Bang. From there, the universe formed, the planet formed, and I came and I'm seeing my consciousness, the universal consciousness, and the process by which we're looking at each other. All of these three are actually the same. And that is samadhi. The goal of meditation is to reach that state of mind. Okay. And along the way, there are so many other benefits. You get great mental health. You get a peaceful state of mind. And I think that's so wonderful, because imagine in a world where everyone practices some form of meditation, everyone stays peaceful. That is the fastest way to achieve world peace, which may seem like a big concept, but I think it just breaks down to individual peace, which then leads to societal peace, which then leads to world peace. So everything from world peace to just feeling happy, healthy every day, living a longer, healthier life, all of those are things that yoga has the potential to give you.
Wow. Yeah. More people should know yoga. Yoga in the Western world has become this Indian thing that, you know what's funny? When I try going to a yoga studio, usually I'm the only guy. It's become like a female thing that men don't care about. And I don't think it's a sexual thing where it should be men or women. I feel like everybody equally benefit from it, right? It's also like Pilates, right? The stretching stuff. You go to Pilates club, you're usually there's less than 10% men in most Pilates clubs, and Pilates is just stretching really hardcore. Again, we as society do these weird things where going to yoga studio as a dude becomes, I don't like I said, it's not awkward for me. I'm a very extrovert kind of person. I really don't care what people think, but I can imagine some people, some men not joining yoga for that, which is very sad, right?
True.
Um,
Maybe it has to do with just the way everything is marketed, because marketing actually does define a lot of
oh
who
yeah,
eventually ends up going.
absolutely.
Maybe that. And also maybe to do with the fact that women are generally more health conscious than men on average. They have healthier habits, they have, better schedules, better sleep
I
timings. Yeah,
I think it's also because men have a lot of, testosterone, and they feel like going to the gym is a better idea, right? Like if you're a man and you have 1 hour a day to work on your body, you just want to burn a lot of energy. I feel like, and a lot of people just end up choosing, gym over going yoga. But I think people should do what they think is best for them, right?
sure.
We were talking about stress, and I really wanted to get this question out to you. Stress is this mental thing that lives in our head, right? And you can practice to handle it in a way where it doesn't impact you that much. Like you said, you reprogram your brain to react differently. Like something bad happens, how do you react defines the level of stress that you're eventually going to go to bed with, right? But can stress lead to physical illness in any way, shape, or form? Like, tell us more about that. Like, is there, and I don't mean like, sure, look at the people getting heart attack. It's one of the top causes of death, and a lot of time it is because of stress. I mean, what happens in our body and brain that a doctor would know that, like, because you are stressed, that leads to this changes in your body. Just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah. Stress has a lot of things that go on in the body. When you have higher levels of cortisol, you have different ways that the nervous system gets activated, and and pretty much all of the bodily metabolism or various functions are influenced by the amount of stress that you are facing. Okay, your immune system is influenced, digestive system is influenced, your reproductive system, your muscles, your heart, your brain, your kidneys, all of these get influenced by the amount of stress that you're facing. There is this wonderful book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers by Robert Sapolsky. It's one of my favorite books on stress. And he talks about how when you are running in the forest away from a lion, reproduction is not the first priority on your mind, and
Right.
it's not the first priority for the body. Okay, so when you feel stress today, your body still goes back to that prehistoric time, which is like coded in your DNA, part of your instincts, part of your subconscious mind, that hey, there's a lion that you're running away from. It's not, you see your boss, you see that deadline, you see your kids giving you a tough time, but then your body sees the lion. So it says, let's remove the focus from immunity, reproduction, digestion, remove all these unnecessary things that are not required. Let's just save ourselves, and diverts the blood flow. It diverts the attention. It diverts the metabolism that's happening to the organs that might need it, like the heart and the muscles. And that's when we start suffering the long-term consequences of stress.
What is the book called? Sorry, I don't know if you mentioned that. I missed it.
It's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers by Robert Sapolsky.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Sapolsky. I learned about him from Dr. Huberman's podcast, and I'm kind of addicted to Spolsky. It's fun. There's a lot of fascinating stuff he talks about. I will reference the book on the show notes because I'm always looking out for book recommendation. Having said that, do you have any other book recommendations? For everything we talked about.
Absolutely. I want to show you a book. If you are interested in learning about the science of plant-based nutrition, if you're a doctor, if you're a healthcare practitioner, or if you're someone who really wants to learn about it, this is one of the best books that you could get. It's called Becoming Vegan by Brenda Davis and Visanto Melina. And I would recommend, there are a few versions available. I would recommend getting this one. It's called the Comprehensive Edition. Okay, it's basically like a reference book. It's called Becoming Vegan, and it's like a reference book for all things related to plant-based nutrition. All your questions about protein, calcium, iron, fat, fiber, how much to eat, when to eat, what about pregnancy, what about children, what about athletes. They cover it all in this book. It's a fantastic book, and it is my reference guide when I have a question as well.
That's awesome. I will definitely check it out. Have you watched a Netflix series called The Game Changer?
Absolutely, it's a fantastic documentary.
That's a lot of fun, and I was blown away because the biggest question I think individuals have when they think about going vegetarian or vegan is, where am I going to get my protein from, right? This idea that you need to eat, a lot of protein every day, and an average meal doesn't have that. But I guess we'll check out the book, right? Find out more about how does a vegan get a lot of the protein, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because the American Dietetic Association has published their position paper saying that plant-based diets, vegetarian and vegan diets can give you enough nutrition for all ages and stages of life, including pregnancy, lactation, childhood, and athletes as well. You can get not just protein, but basically all the nutrition you need except vitamin B12 and vitamin D3, which you may need to supplement not only if you are on a vegan diet, but no matter what kind of diet you eat. If you're living in an urban environment, you might need to supplement it. But apart from those two, all the nutrients that you need, you can get from a well-planned plant-based diet. Even if it's an unhealthy plant-based diet, you can still get the protein you need. I'm not recommending it.
Right.
Well-planned, healthy vegan diet is great. But even an unhealthy vegan diet could give you enough protein. And how much protein do you need? You need 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kg of healthy body weight, according to the ICMR, which is the Indian Council for Medical Research, and a lot of the organizations across the world that make these guidelines.
It's not your body weight, it's the ideal weight you're looking at?
Yes. Is your healthy body weight.
It's not your body weight.
Exactly. So if you are underweight or normal weight, then it is your body weight. But if you're overweight, like a lot of people are, you need to subtract the excess fat from the equation before calculating for protein. Let's say that I am 6 feet tall and I weigh 110 kgs. I should not take 110 as my base because the 30-40 kg of excess fat I carry does not require protein. So I remove that from the equation. I take my ideal weight, which is around 70, 75, 80, somewhere around that range. Then I multiply it by 0.8 to 1 to get the amount of protein that I need.
Awesome. I want to know more about what you've been building. I know in the beginning you mentioned a little bit, but tell us more about, you're a medical professional, you're a doctor, you're doing this for your patients, but you're also building tools online for individuals that cannot see you in person or, consult you. Tell us more about that.
Mohit, I have had this dream of healing without medicine since my childhood, and I have wanted to help people live their healthiest lives, be the best version of themselves. When I started my career in my clinic, my consultations used to last 3 to 3.5 hours on average. Like a patient would come to see a doctor, it's a 10-15 minute consultation at max in
Right.
a typical hospital, but they come to see me, it's half a day. Because like imagine I get a patient with diabetes, okay, and I tell them, hey, you have diabetes, here's what you need to do. You need to eat less meat, dairy, eggs, oil, sugar, white rice, refined flour, and eat more fruits, veggies, greens, legumes, whole grains. All right, please come and see me in a month. They're not going to come back in a month. They're not going to come back to me, period. What is this doctor? He's out of his mind.
Right.
It
Yeah.
takes time to understand who they are, where they're coming from, what their current diet is like, what their history is like. Show them a picture of where they can reach, what you can achieve with a healthy enough lifestyle. Figure out what are the obstacles that they're going to face in achieving that healthy lifestyle. How do you dismantle those obstacles, overcome all of them, and reach that point where you're headed? That takes time. So my consultations used to be 3 hours long. And then I realized after a few years that this is not sustainable. How many people am I practically going to
Right.
reach like this? My impact is nowhere near where I want it to be. In 5 years, I have treated 2,000 patients, which was nothing, in the big scheme of things. So then we said, let's start thinking smartly about this. Let's automate what we can. Let's create tools. Let's create systems, processes, and remove all those barriers to doctors who want to teach their patients a healthy lifestyle. So we started doing workshops. 30 people in a room, half a day, one day, and you learn everything you need to know about getting started on a whole food plant-based diet. You go back home, people started reversing diabetes, reversing hypertension, losing weight effortlessly within 2 weeks to a month. Then we took the workshops online on nutritionscience.in. We got fantastic feedback. I remember getting a client who was getting fertility treatment, and then they had to stop the treatment because they shifted from India to the US. The gynecologist sent them to us because the treatments were not working. Multiple rounds of IVF, IUI, and all of them
Right.
failed. So they started eating healthier. Then they shifted to the US, went to the local gynecologist there. But by the time they could go and get started with treatment, they found happily that she was already pregnant, conceived naturally, just with a healthy enough lifestyle. So we had people like that who had fantastic improvements in their lives, in their health, just by following our online courses. At the end of a few years, people were saying, Doctor, this is all fantastic. This is great. As long as I'm cooking at home, I'm happy and healthy. But can you find someone who can prepare this food and send it to my house? It's going to become so much easier for me then.
Right.
And and we realize this is a real problem. The world is
Sure.
not designed to keep you and me healthy. The world is designed for different purposes. That's why
Absolutely.
it's so hard. And we realize we need to have a convenient option, because most people, like, there will always be people like you and me who make that conscious choice. Let's say I put in the effort to eat healthy today. But for most people, they're going to eat healthy when it becomes convenient to do so. So we wanted to make it convenient. And we started a social enterprise called Sampurna Ahara, where we took the 100 most popular sweets and snacks and we created healthy but tasty versions of them. All oil-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, but absolutely delicious. And we deliver them across the world. People can order from anywhere and get it delivered to their home.
Wait, so I'm on the website. I see idli and vada pav. Not vada pav, but what is that? It's
The
called?
vada, yeah.
Yeah, the vada.
Yeah.
You ship that internationally too?
So fresh food is just in Bangalore where we're based. And then we
Right.
have almost 100 types of sweets and snacks that we ship internationally.
Got it. And that's just worldwide, any country. That's fascinating. Yeah, we'll definitely be ordering. So the idea here is you can still eat tasty food, and we just make it healthy. That's fascinating. And then you mentioned nutrition science. What does nutrition science do? If I'm an individual, do I buy a course and it just tells me what I need to do? Tell us a little bit about individuals
Exactly.
that are interested.
Exactly. So our latest set of courses are, so you start with a free guided course step by step. Currently, we're doing a 7-day freedom from cravings challenge. Okay, where you get one video a day for 7 days, and you get Q&A, interaction, tips and tricks, where you can overcome your cravings. And you choose one craving that you want to overcome, and then we teach you how to overcome that in 7 days for free. And then after that, we have a yearly membership. It's called the Nourish Movement. And you can sign up for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, where you get regular classes. 2 times a week, we meet on a Zoom call. I show you a recipe. We discuss about it, how it's a healthy recipe, how you can change your cooking patterns at home. And every class is a different topic. Sometimes we talk about diabetes prevention, high BP prevention, stroke prevention. If you have these diseases, what are steps you can take to start treating them through nutrition and maybe even reverse them? Talk about PCOD, obesity, weight gain, weight loss, all of these topics. And apart from that, for people who already have health issues, we offer consultations where you can come in, share your medical reports, have a one-on-one medical consultation with me and my team. And we offer guided programs, like a whole range of guided programs, depending on how complicated or simple the health issue is. And we guide you, we handhold you through a 1 year reversal process where we help you go from where you are today with the blood test that you have today to achieving your optimal health and maintaining that lifestyle, sustaining that lifestyle to what we call the point of no return to unhealthy habit, where you're able to just continue following healthy habits at the end of a 1 year period. Those are the two types of things that we offer on nutrition side.
What's your legacy going to be? What is your goal? What do you want to leave behind? You're definitely helping a lot of people live a better life. Like, I can imagine a couple trying to conceive and going through IVF, which is such a weird experience, right? Like, there's so many medication you have to take, all of that, and then to be able to conceive naturally is a beautiful thing. You've made a change in their life that they're gonna remember forever. Is that the end goal? Do you want to impact as many, like tell us a little bit about your vision when you're on your deathbed? What would make you happy? Like,
Mohit, this is something I thought about a lot, and I realized legacy is not good enough because people don't remember you once you've gone. So you're only happy about your legacy as long as you're alive. Then you're not allowed to enjoy it anymore. So from that day that I realized it, I shifted my focus to today. If today is going to be my last day on planet Earth, what's going to make me happy? Let me do that. Let me create as big an impact as possible today. Okay. And then when I go to sleep, every day I ask myself the question, am I satisfied with what I've achieved today? And I say, yes, okay, today I'm satisfied. Let me go to sleep. Okay. I think the one thing that I just want to achieve is I want to make healthy living easier for people. You choose, do you want to live a healthy lifestyle or not? That's a personal choice that each one of us has to make. But it is so difficult. It's so complicated. There are, life today is not designed for your health and my health. And I want to change that. I want to make it easy. I want to make it simple. So all of the barriers that you have, do you have a barrier that, a doctor is not able to guide you on living a healthy lifestyle? One barrier down. Do you have a barrier that you don't want to go to a doctor, you don't yet have a health issue, but you want to stay healthy, you don't want to develop a health issue? Second barrier down. Are you too busy and you want a convenient option to eat healthy? Third barrier down. I don't know which barrier we're going to approach next, but that is the goal. Any difficulty that you face about healthy eating, we want to lower that barrier and give you access to following a healthy lifestyle easily, conveniently, sustainably, so that you get the best possible results. And at the end of the day, I think it's about two things. Number one is healthy people have more fun, and that's it. Okay. Number two is we don't realize something that's critical about health and disease, which is something that happened to me when I was in medical school. Okay. I was so inspired by my mother's transformation. I joined medical school, but in my second year, I walk out of the midterm
where did
exam.
you go to? What college did you go to?
I went to the STM College of Naturopathy and Yogic Sciences, which is under the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences in Karnataka. And my second year midterm exam, I walk out of the hall, I get a phone call from my mother. Your grandmother has passed away. Headmistress of a school. She helped thousands of deserving children. She loved speaking. She loved debating. She loved conversations. But she passed away from Parkinson's and dementia, unable to form words. Third year of college, walk out of the same exam hall, get another call. Your grand uncle has passed away from his second heart attack. Okay. I graduate from college. My mother, in 2018, my mother gets diagnosed with breast cancer. She went through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and the follow-up scan, the oncologist said, I'm surprised the cancer is shrinking so fast. We were so happy, but 5 years later, it returned with a vengeance. And it was a metastatic triple negative breast cancer, aggressive and fast variant. And this time, despite our best efforts, we couldn't save her. My mother passed away 2 years back. Every time this happened, I realized we cannot wait until we get diagnosed. We need to take action now. Okay? We need to start now before we get any diagnosis when we are at our peak health so that we can maintain that. I think it's about living your best life, spending a little more time doing the things you love with the people that you love. That's the legacy I want to leave behind, Mohit.
I love that. I like the fact that you're like nobody cares about you after you die, which is so true. I've seen some deaths in my life, right? And 48 hours after the individual passes away, everybody just moves on. Why do we, well, not well, why do some people think they're so important they're gonna do something and the world is gonna remember you forever? Like I feel like the only people we remember are the bad people, like Hitler. They're obsessed with him, right? They still make movies about him. Like unless you do that, nobody cares. I like how you said, "What can I do today?" And that's really what matters, right? That's fascinating. I've got some fun rapid fire questions I want to throw your way. These are the quick ones. And that's really all I have for today. But let's just look at these and see how we handle them. What do you see as a very overrated health trend or a wellness trend these days? Do you see anything?
I think there are so many today, but I think the one thing that I wish people would talk more about, um, or talk in a different way rather, is protein. Okay, protein is essential, it's crucial, we need it, we need enough of it, we need the right kind. But most people are already getting enough of it, except if you're starving, malnourished, or undernourished. Then you're not only getting insufficient protein, you're getting insufficient food. And that is a different problem, very different, that needs to be fixed. But as long as you're getting enough food, most people are getting enough protein. And getting more protein, especially from animal sources, is not going to solve the epidemic of heart disease, of hypertension, of diabetes, and cancer that the world is facing today. On the other hand, if we focus on getting protein from the healthiest sources, from wholesome plant based foods, then we can solve this epidemic. We can prevent 90 to 95% of people who are suffering from diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and lifestyle related cancers. And I think that's something that's critical, crucial, that people understand and we all pursue.
What's one ingredient that you think is the go-to? I don't mean like for a meal, just one ingredient that you think is like a superfood.
Sure. I think it would be two ingredients, turmeric powder and amla, or the Indian gooseberry. So turmeric powder is literally the king of spices because it has so many benefits. It's such a wide
I thought we just use
variety of
it for the
benefits.
color.
Not at all. Not
I
at all.
always thought like when you like let's say you make rice and if you don't put a little bit of turmeric powder, the color is gonna look bland. Please tell us. Yeah, educate
Yeah,
us.
yeah. I guess the golden color is a nice add-on, but
Yeah.
even apart from that, it has so many benefits from anti-inflammatory to anti-cancer to preventing heart disease to preventing Alzheimer's disease. So many benefits. I think it has the science shows that it has more benefits than pretty much all other spices out there. And all you need is a pinch, like a quarter teaspoon, half a
Right.
teaspoon of turmeric powder a day to get that much of benefit. Okay, that's number one. Number two, amla or Indian gooseberry. It is the highest antioxidant food on planet Earth. And I believe from the research I've read that it is the only food that can reduce a genetic component of heart disease risk called lipoprotein A or LPA. So no matter how healthy lifestyle you lead, if you have genetically high LPA levels, you could still end up with a heart attack. But when you eat amla every day, that has been shown to reduce your lipoprotein A levels. Your amla
That's
and
no, that's amazing. A lot of people use amla in fruit juices. Do you think that's okay, or are you in the camp of, well, something's better? You're at least having it in your diet. It doesn't matter how.
yeah, including it in any way is great.
For the Indian households, what's one thing they can change or adopt that could immediately make a big impact for the entire family? And I'm talking a traditional Indian family that eats three times a day. They have these wheat and rice and whatever, lentils, the typical Indian meal, right?
Sure,
What's one thing they can change or adopt that would
sure.
immediately change everything?
Sure. So I'm thinking of two answers for this, and I want to share both. One is a behavioral change, okay, which is the family gets involved in cooking. Typically, it's just one person who does the cooking, and that person may not even be from the family in a lot of cases. But when everyone gets involved in sourcing, preparing their food, you're suddenly a lot more invested in, hey, what am I eating? And a lot less critical of the food you eat. So it makes it a lot easier for the person who manages the show, and it makes it a lot healthier for everyone involved, whether you're kids or elders or anyone really at home. If you are involved in the cooking and you're supporting the cooking process, the family gets healthier. I've seen this time and again. That's
So
number one.
just
Okay, so number
so
two.
just
Yeah,
getting involved in the process. Sorry, I just want to clarify. So you're not changing the ingredients. The fact that instead of just mom cooking, now it's mom and dad, and maybe the kid is helping a little bit. Just that alone makes a difference, you think?
exactly, because when you're
Oh,
only on the receiving end, then you don't see the effort that's gone in. You don't see the ingredients that have gone in. You don't get you don't understand the process at all. So you are left at the end of the day saying, hey, I want something fried, make me french fries today. But when you're involved in that cooking process, you realize, hey, look at the amount of oil that's going into the french fries. Okay, I don't feel like it, I don't want it, let's do an air fried version instead. But that
right.
connection doesn't come until you're actually in front of the stove looking at the oil.
Sorry, I interrupted you there. There was one more thing you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. The other one is what you put on your plate. Okay. And I'm going to share something that most people probably don't know. Okay. This is how the traditional Indian meal was structured. A typical Indian banana leaf meal that's served at weddings and special occasions. On a banana leaf, that's the plate, right? The
Right.
first item served is a ripe banana. The second is a vegetable salad. It's called a kosamri here in South India. And then you have three, four different vegetable dishes. There's a watery vegetable, there's a root vegetable, a tuber, there's the other vegetables from different parts of the plant, and then there's a green leafy vegetable. So all of these different types of vegetables are served, and then the what we call the main dish is actually served at the end. Okay, your roti, sabji, or chapati, or sambar
Right.
rice, rasam rice, mixed rice like puliogre. All of those dishes are served right at the end, the grains and dals. Why is it served this way? Because that's the way we are supposed to eat, both for optimal nutrition and for optimal digestion. If we go back to those roads, we don't do that. No, we wait for everything to be served on the plate and then we start with the
Right.
rice. That's not what we were
Yeah, the
supposed to
salad
do.
is always in the end because you feel
Exactly.
guilty, right?
Exactly. We need to switch that around. We need to start eating fruits first, then the salad, then the vegetable dishes, and then go to the main dish at the end. The main dish needs to become the side dish. The fruits and
Right.
salads need to come to the center plate. If we can make this change, if we can change like the mountain of rice that a typical Indian plate has
Yeah.
into a mountain of salad and then the rice afterwards, I think that can be the biggest change. And also, if you look at the global burden of disease study, the biggest dietary risk factors for death in India today are not the food we eat, but the food that we don't eat. Not eating enough whole grains, not eating enough fruits, not eating enough legumes, not eating enough nuts and seeds. So, if we can solve that, if we can bring more of these healthy foods onto our plates, then we can all achieve much better health the easy way. You ask anyone, are you ready to stop eating fried food? The average answer is going to be, are you crazy? But if you ask them, hey, are you ready to start eating an apple a day? Whether you want to keep the doctor away or not, it ends
Right.
up happening. You eat more fruits, you eat more vegetables, you get healthier.
Can I share what has worked for me recently? So what I've realized in my life is if I want to change a habit, I try to change my surroundings to make that habit come naturally. Like, for example, you mentioned nuts, right? And I love eating nuts, and I have to drive a lot for my business. I drive a lot, like a lot, right? What I've done is I have these boxes full of these nuts of all kind stored in like four different parts of my car. I don't want to eat it. Like right now, it's 9 p.m. I'm not going to eat nuts, right? I'm not going to go for a drive. But I just have these three, four boxes I fill up and throw it in the car. Because in the moment when I get hungry and I have to choose between, well, I've got nuts right here, or I can go to McDonald's and get fries, the fact that I have them right here makes it very easy for me to consume them. So if you just change your surroundings and, like if you have a home gym, you're going to work out more. And I'm not saying you should have a home gym, and I know that's an extreme luxury, but if you change your surroundings, the actions will change, even a little bit, right? But anyway, it's just something I thought I'd share.
Very
Last
true. I love
question:
that.
um, Do you have any patient stories that just always, something crazy, something that just I don't know, just jump off the paper? Do you want to share any patient stories, please?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many. I remember a client who came to me from the hospital, okay, after having gotten treated for a heart attack. He got a heart attack, got a surgery, got his life saved. He was on his way home when he decided, hey, I'm not going to go home. I'm going to go and see this doctor because I do not want another heart attack ever again.
Right.
He came to us. He weighed over 100 kgs. He was on a cocktail of medications for his heart disease. He was on medications for diabetes, for high blood pressure, and he was really suffering. And he said, Doc, tell me what to do. I will do it. Don't even tell me why. Just tell me what to do. I am ready for it now.
Right.
Okay. He changed. He completely transformed his lifestyle, Mohit, in just 6 months. Okay. He dropped close to 30 kgs of weight. Okay. I think little over 6 months, dropped up to 30 kgs of weight. His blood sugar came back to about 40% less, close to normal. His BP reduced from the 180 systolic BP range down to 120 by 80. Okay. He went back to his doctor. He did the treadmill test, and he said, "I am so happy because earlier when I did the test, I would just run out of breath and I had to stop. But this time, I
Right.
just kept going until the doctor said, okay, please stop. I don't see anything wrong. You seem to have recovered well." I think that
Oh,
was so wonderful. I love that transformation. He still has to take some medications for heart disease, but just knowing that I have been able to help him drop his next heart attack risk by so much, just by making simple changes to his daily habits, I think that's more fulfilling than anything. All the hours of long work, late nights, early mornings, they're all worth it when a patient comes and says, "Hey, doc, I'm feeling better."
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a physical clinic that you go to and patients can walk in?
Yes, I consult at Anandamaya Wellness Center in Bangalore on Saturdays, and I consult online on the other days of the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays typically. And today, especially for nutrition and lifestyle changes, people come from all over the world. A lot from Bangalore, but many other cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Vishakhapatnam, so many other cities and other countries as well. We have people
It's
calling in
awesome.
from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Dubai, UAE, and most of them, because they're outside, most of my consultations are online as well.
Got it. Awesome. Well, this was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and hopefully I'll make some changes to my life. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, having me here. I loved having this conversation. And it's such an easy flow with you. You just blend
Well,
one
thank
story
you.
into the other seamlessly. I love that. Thank you so much.